surplus show still part of that too? So they have the new stuff, and then they have a surplus dealer section as well.
Yeah,
you can buy.
I think it is.
Yeah.
And the the section, like I said, we're the only really inventor. We're going under Invent America banner, so they know we're going to be doing radio right there. They're going to participate on the radio with us. They're going to do one of our radio shows in a couple of weeks and talk about it. So we're excited about the opportunity to get really now these new products out there and show them off. And
wow,
yeah, we are live.
Are we live now? All right, good deal.
Yeah, if you got some kind of scary warning, third party information, that's you.
All right, so we are live on YouTube. All righty, well, we're going to get started then. So, can you now post Steamboat Willie on YouTube without getting a copyright strike? Is it really the birthday of the beer can? And can a nail gun actually be silent? Well, these and other topics we're going to talk about tonight. Welcome to the January 2024, very first edition of 2024, and our first year anniversary of doing this, of Inventor Friday. I'm Don Skaggs, your chief cook and bottle washer around here. And we have some really great guests tonight. With me tonight is Bill Cloyd. Bill is the founder of Newton's Attic. Bill, tell everybody about Newton's Attic. What it is, what it does.
So I founded Newton's Attic 25 years ago. In fact, we just had our 25th anniversary celebration.
Congrats.
A couple weekends ago. It's a nonprofit whose sole mission is to get young people interested in science and math and engineering by doing really unusual and different hands-on projects and activities and summer camps and things like that. And we like to say that our superpower is high risk tolerance, because we let kids as young as 6-year-olds use power tools. And they come in there, and maybe the first day or two, they're a little nervous. The first day, they're a little nervous, especially the ones that have never been in a shop before. But generally by the third or fourth day, they're pulling us out of our lunch breaks to get back into the shop. Wow. So they can keep working on the project. Sometimes they don't take no for an answer.
You don't get many lunch breaks, do you?
No. It's generally walking around. Well, during summer camp it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and we've worked with a lot of kids over the years. And we're still growing. And we have a new program that we're developing. That's, if the current interest rate maintains, we will dominate the world here pretty soon.
Wow.
Niche.
Yeah,
so we're excited about that.
On that, I'm excited too for you.
I'll talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So all right. Also with me, with Newton's Attic, is Keith Hollifield. I'm not pronouncing your last name.
No, you got it right. Hollifield.
Yeah. Okay. You think after all these years I'd get it right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Some people try to call it Holyfield. That's down there too. I'm no relation to the boxer.
No relation to the boxer at all. Okay.
So, yeah, I work with Bill at Newton's Attic. Been there about 10 of the 25 years, and so my title there is Chief Toy Maker. And
oh, cool.
The way that we describe the division of duties there is, if it takes a forklift, it's in Bill's domain. If it takes a battery, it's in my domain.
Oh, cool.
So, we work pretty well together in developing a lot of these programs that we do. So
absolutely. Well, also with us tonight, of course, is the Leo York, the kind of the guy that makes things go around here.
Hey, everybody. Hope you're having a good Friday.
And on the is your camera up too?
Yep.
Okay. Also with us is George, taking care of cameras and
driving the camera.
Driving the cameras. So if the cameras mess up, blame George.
I'm sure I'll do that.
Oh, all right. Well, let's talk about Newton's Attic a little bit. Let's take a look over here. I'm going to share my screen, and if I can share my screen. There we go. And this one right here. And we're going to talk a little bit about that's us. That's not what you wanted to see at all. Come on, guys. This happens a lot. All right, let's talk about the robot gladiators. That's just super, super cool. So this is something new that you guys have started. So
Well,
tell us a
about
little bit
10, about 12 years ago, I wanted to do a version of BattleBots because it was really popular. You know, how do we do that? Because creating a robot, you know, the BattleBots you see on TV are probably $25,000-$30,000 minimum,
okay. This is
or more expensive than that. I mean, they probably spend some maybe six figures. So that's obviously
Wow.
very hard to do for the average
Yeah.
kid, especially in Lexington, Kentucky.
right.
And so I came up with the idea of, well, what if I built the guts, the chassis part, and then let the kids build the weapons on top? And so we've kind of taken that model, and over the years we've gotten a little bit better, and then Keith came along, who used to own a hobby shop. He's incredibly good with RC equipment and all that. We've kind of taken it to the next level, and we're developing now a league where schools from all over Kentucky are going to be competing against each other.
Wow.
And actually, Keith, maybe you want to chime in a little bit on
So
that.
this development's not a yesterday we decided to do it thing. This, as Bill said, he's been doing the program in-house for about 10 years. About 2 years ago, we were approached by a new program at Morehead State University, a university here in Kentucky, and they wanted to have kind of a flagship outreach program. And so they challenged us to take it from where we were working in-house, almost one-on-one with half a dozen kids. They said, how do we scale this and make this where we can have, multiple schools with, 12 to 20 kids per team, and, potentially put this in every high school in the state of Kentucky. And that was the task they gave us. And so we developed a new robot chassis that made it easier for us to do that, to distribute it out to schools.
Little invention in there.
Yeah,
Sounds like.
a lot of invention, a lot of testing. We've had 4 pilot programs and learned at each step along the way. We're on a 3rd version of the chassis. At this point, we built over 50 of them. But we also had to come up with, how do we make this highly engaging and highly involved for the largest number of students? And one way we decided to do that was to mimic sports and athletics as much as possible. The thinking being, if you go into any high school in the country and you were to remove the basketball team or the football team from that high school,
Right.
the parent outcry would be outrageous. It wouldn't last a day. 24 hours, they'd be re-implementing that program. So how do we develop something that has that kind of community engagement and that kind of support from outside the school and pressure from the parents and students?
Right.
And so rather than make it a small number of people that are building one robot to just take out the other robot, we developed a sport out of it. So on each side of our arena, there are scoring pins. They're actually bowling pins, but ours automatically reset and have protection around them. And it's kind of fancy bowling pins, I guess. And so the team's objective is in a full contact environment. So you are battling the other robots, but you have to knock down their pins while keeping them from knocking down the others. And what we found is that it's very easy for spectators to pick up on this. They understand the scoring mechanism. They understand who's winning and why. And at our last summer program in Morehead, we did a 2-week in residence program with the capstone was one of our big battles. And we had 400 people come through from the community, and it was
Awesome.
exactly how I envisioned. It was just like a sporting event. They were jumping up and down and screaming, making signs, buying concessions and T-shirts. I mean, it was everything you wanted. So now we are taking all of this development and pilot, and we have 8 high schools that are going to be competing for the first season. Starting, we delivered all the robots this week.
Wow.
So if we're a little tired, that's why. But,
Three teams today.
yeah,
Wow. You did it today just before you came here. Wow.
just where we came here.
Yeah.
And so February 24th is our first event, and we'll have 4 regular season matches and then a championship, like March Madness style tournament
Wow.
at Morehead.
Well, I'm amazed, and I think this is what really stuff like this needed, was you've heard of gamifying this. This is kind of like sportifying it.
Yeah.
Yes,
So you're getting people engaged, you're getting the cheering crowds.
yes.
So you see, to me, I think that's an invention just right in itself, is just because everybody's done it before. The ones that they've done before, they fell flat. But
Right.
this, when you get crowds cheering, you got something.
Yeah, and that's, Bill and I did some investigating. I mean, we've been to a lot of events over the years, but when this challenge came to us, we did some investigating and we went and visited some STEM conferences and events where students were competing in activities, and we took a lot of notes about, honestly, the things that we didn't like about what we were seeing, and how can we change that? How can we improve, make this where it really is incredibly engaging? And we even tell the students when we give them the robot, said, part of your job as a competitor on this team is to get your community here. If you get them here, we'll put on a show. We've got lights, theatrics, announcer. We will get them engaged, but you've got to get them here and get them interested, because that's where your support is going to be in the future.
Yeah,
and you
that's it.
got to get these guys in here.
That's pretty amazing, guy. And I think you've got a video on here too. that
Yeah, we
can
do.
play?
If you scroll down on our webpage, there's a
Try
hype
to click
video.
those bottom two boxes.
Oh, that was it. What? That's why I went out and back in. So perfect. Okay, guys, we're going to show you a video. This looks pretty cool. Is this the one?
Yeah, that'd be the one.
All right.
Step into a world where high school students become the architects of destruction. Combining hands-on practice, relentless dedication, and cutting-edge design to create competing robots. Feel the intensity as the arena comes alive with powerful music, blinding lights, enveloping fog, and sparks that ignite the air. It's a sensory explosion that takes your breath away. But it's not just about destruction. In the heart of the Robot Gladiator League lies a deep passion for STEM education, where students learn invaluable skills in engineering, programming, and problem solving.
Nothing is safe in that arena.
Join us on this thrill, where innovation meets mayhem and sparks fly in the pursuit of victory.
They're off! Death has won! The Grim Reaper has won! Death has two! Two for the Four Horsemen! Two for the Reaper! That is three for the Four Horsemen! Folks, the Reapers are not letting up. They won the
The
first
Robot
two!
Gladiator League is not just a battle, it's a testament to the power of knowledge, creativity, and teamwork. Are you ready to witness the clash of metal, the roar of the crowd, and the triumph of technology?
Let's battle.
Welcome to Robot Gladiator League.
All right, that is so cool.
Yeah, the music was got me hyped. So you got Dave Lombardo to do the sound.
Yeah.
Dang.
Well, that's I don't know, did I tell them our secret about who did the audio track on that?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I guess. Well, that's AI.
It's
Really?
Yeah.
yeah, and here's the funny thing, because I was in full what do they call it?
Disclosure?
Full disclosure here. I'm a founding member of Boot Newton's Attic, and
Yes.
proud to be one, and a founding board member.
Yes.
So anyway, well, I was at a board meeting and they were showing this, and Bill, I could have sworn it was you.
Oh, what?
I
Really? No.
I thought that was your voice. I thought, okay, they've taken Bill's voice and they've like.
I'd have to do a whole
little
lot
bit.
with it. Take a lot of practice for me to.
Yeah.
I guess we should say too, that video, and we worked with him a bunch, but that high schooler does our videos.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's a
Distinction.
student we came into contact with through our partnership with Moorhead. And they up there said, hey, look, there's this really special student, super talented. see what you think. And yeah, he's been great, and he's doing more stuff for us as we come up. So
Wow.
yeah, he's what do we say? We're a big fan of child labor and new.
Yeah, well, there's a
Yeah, right. Yeah.
volunteer.
Productive,
Volunteers.
productive
That's
child,
right.
and he gets paid, so we don't have to worry
Yeah,
about
no,
that.
he does get paid, and
Yeah,
he does a great
Very
job.
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, let's see. And I guess I also need to mention tonight that we have and let me get back over here to screen share. And so also tonight, of course, I do want to mention our sponsor, one of our own, Bennett Gatto, one of our very own inventors, showed up at one of our meetings, the laser pointer and some Post-it notes. And later, he came up with this, and it's called the Total PT Connect. He helps people with, he started out with neurological conditions like Parkinson's, and it's a whole way for people to stay engaged and actually delay the onset of a lot of the bad parts of that disease. And what they learned from this, that it actually can help a lot of other people as well, especially with brain function. So he has a whole program. It's called the Total PT Connect. And it's just an amazing thing. It's got all of these tracking devices, and it all runs on a platform. And it's just an amazing thing that he's just relatively recently launched this one product from his company, Total Health Works. So and what I always like to say about them is, if they've done this, help Parkinson patients, just imagine what they could do for you, because it really does help everybody at this point. So if you are interested in learning more about it, go to totalhealthworks.com /totalpt. It's a pretty amazing thing. So that, and that's our sponsor. That is our, we get to share a building with Bennett, and he's had an amazing ride with this. And we're just really proud to have him and his company as a sponsor. Also, you want to check out our website at kyinventors.org. That's our website. We've got all kinds of stuff going on, from swag to courses to, if you've missed a meeting, if you want to see a replay, we've got that now. Always, there's membership opportunities if you want to become a member, and we have a lot of stuff. Oh, look, here's Inventor Friday, what we're doing right now. So here's all the stuff that's happening. So just check us out, kyinventors.org, if you'd like to be a member, if you'd like to just be involved. We're doing a lot of really cool stuff. So, all right. So let's jump into the news. And first thing here, this first item is inventions in history. So January 13th, 1930, the first ever Mickey Mouse cartoon appeared in newspapers throughout the US. But the little addendum to that, the copyright for that has now just expired. So it actually ran out. It is now run out. It's and they're going to specifically pull Steamboat Willie, the Barn Dance, and that original design of Mickey Mouse into the public domain in terms of copyright law. And Leo, what does that? What do you think that means for everybody?
It's an odd thing, because I never thought it would happen. When we were doing in-person meetings, there were jokes about it. They would always move the goalpost to accommodate Disney. And there's two things that I find interesting about that. One, why they let it lapse. Actually, three things. Two, what the physical difference is between two Mickeys, and why, one is not protected and one has lapsed. And then also, this is an observation more than a criteria, but been seeing a lot of people parodying it now as a result, and most of them are very offensive. So I don't know why Disney would allow that to happen. It doesn't seem like good PR. It doesn't seem like good marketing, and I'm sure they had the means to defend it, but they didn't.
Yeah, that is kind of odd. They just sort of let it go.
Yeah.
And the other thing, it's a copyright. So, and the difference between copyrights and trademarks is a copyright is a
Written word.
literal written word. I wonder, could they have trademarked?
I'm sure, actually, I know that they have trademarks on Mickey, but I think the big likeness, it's Mickey's likeness. But also the three concentric circles.
Oh,
You know, that people get mad at Disney, but you know, I'm gonna defend them on this. That people get mad. It's like, oh, a daycare in Mexico City just got sued into oblivion because they used but it's one of those things where you have to use it or lose it. Like you have to defend it. Doesn't matter if it's an orphanage or Amazon. You know, you treat all your competitors the same.
Yep. Interesting. Well, one thing I thought was kind of interesting about it was that, if they could have trademarked it, I mean, there's a lot of trademarks that'll last forever. I mean,
True.
the Levi jeans trademark. I mean, it's the 1880s. It's still active.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And so I always wondered, couldn't they just trademarked it and then just hung on to it? But you're right. Maybe they just didn't care.
Yeah.
And I'm also thinking of another one because kind of just an aside to that.
By the way, do you know the oldest trademark?
What's the oldest
I
trademark?
had to look it up. I'm not being that clever. But the base ale triangle. That's the oldest trademark.
Really?
Yeah. I got curious when you mentioned Levi. I was like, is anything older than that? Yeah.
Oh,
1882.
and what was it for?
It's a beer from France.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Trippy stuff.
So if it's still active, that means it's still a product.
Oh, it's still out there.
Wow.
I didn't know it was French.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have any French folks with us tonight. I don't
No,
think.
sorry,
So
guys.
if you do know this ale, let us know in the chat. So
Closest we got is occasionally a French Canadian, but Norman's not here today.
right. Oh, so what do you think? You think Disney should have got a copyright or a trademark instead of a copyright, or should they have cared? Or
Do you think there's something nefarious, or you think they just thought, it's time to let Steamboat Willie go?
Yeah, I'm not sure how what legally happens. I don't know if that's something that was written into the statute.
What happens is they give a lot of money to Uncle Sam, and Uncle Sam's like, you know what, we've been thinking, and it needs to be
a
a little
bit
longer.
longer. Yeah. I do. The only thing I can recall about that is, what's his name? John Oliver, the HBO guy,
Oh, yeah.
did a show at the end of last year. He's done several shows where he dares people to sue him, and so he had a Steamboat Willie costume, and a guy came out in a Steamboat Willie character, and he
Oh my
basically
God.
dared Disney to try and get rid of this.
Interesting.
And
I
so
wonder, was that the tipping point?
Yeah.
I don't know. And it was, like you said, it was offensive. That was a pretty offensive outing for Steamboat Willie in costume there too. I don't remember
Yeah.
exactly what it was. I
Oh.
remember Disney would not have appreciated it. I think it was that.
Wow.
But no, I'm not sure. I'm not sure why they didn't fight harder for it. Maybe
Yeah.
I mean, they've got very expensive lawyers. I'm sure the lawyers would have given them some clue if they had any shot.
Oh yeah. You'd think they would.
Yeah. Bill, George, you guys got any thoughts on Mickey? I can't let go of Mickey yet because there's one other thing.
Oh, yeah. Who's Steamboat Willie?
Steamboat Willie is like the OG Mickey cartoon. He's whistling, he's driving a little steamboat. That big scary Pete Cat guy shows up, and it's a whole conundrum for him. It was very Popeye-like. It felt more like
It
Popeye.
was kind of Popeye-like,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Which, funny enough, my co-hosts on my show, they have the daughter, and she has a book that's Steamboat Willie inspired, and she would sometimes get scared at night since she was scared of the carrot man. And it was actually Pete from the villain of Steamboat Willie has a cigar, and she didn't know what a cigar was, so she just assumed he had a carrot in his mouth. So I thought that was while you were drawing that up, I figured I'd give an anecdote.
That is that's actually a very good one. And I think we had something else about Disney. Wasn't
That's what I was alluding to.
Oh,
Was,
that wasn't it.
was
There it is. There it is. So
This is wild.
yeah, won't you give us some
Can
background?
do. So this is Disney's business plan. Instead of writing one out, Disney, being such an artistic guy, submitted this, and it worked. He actually got the loan as a direct result. That and the fact that I think he used his life insurance as collateral.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he went all in on Mickey. But it's literally just showcasing how the park makes money, how the movies make money, how the merch makes money, how they all feed into one another. And what's remarkable is that this is an old plan. This is like from 57. it's still a great business plan, like today, like that's how they're still afloat, is that model ostensibly.
It still works
Yeah,
today.
and it's a
That's
drawing,
wild.
not a doc.
I wonder if I'd fly today in a PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Mr. Venture Fund
Yeah.
group is, here's my plan. I want to build this park, and would they have done
Yeah,
that?
just take this napkin sketch and let's make billions. Funny enough, speaking of trademarks,
Oh, yes.
Warren, if you got a trademark story, so feel free to unmute, and I'm curious as to what the anecdote is.
So I do. Thanks, Leo. I do have a trademark story. For those of you who are not familiar, many years ago, I invented a product to compete with Lego called Better Blocks. But the interesting thing was that I owned the patents on it, which ran out after 25 years, but I never owned the trademark. Right? The guy I licensed to owned the trademark. And I always said that the money is actually in the trademark, because the trademark can go on and on and on and on and on. Well, a couple of years ago, actually, I was looking into the possibility of relaunching Better Blocks, but I didn't own the trademark. So I approached the people who did own the trademark, and they were never going to do anything with it. So they actually gave me the Better Block trademark for free. And I thought, how cool is this, right? So I said the money was in the trademark. But the interesting thing was I got a group of people together, and we were really looking at relaunching it, and it came quite close. And in the end, I said, no, I pulled out of the deal. And the reason I did it is because like the Better Blocks was successful in the 90s, and I'd hung on to the relaunching of Better Blocks like for 30 years. It's like I hung on to the past. And I'd really decided that it was time to let go of Better Blocks, because I had new ventures that I wanted to do, and I couldn't do the new ventures still hanging on to the past. So what I did was that there was a couple of people who were still interested in relaunching the Better Blocks, and actually it looks like it'll happen in the next 3 or 4 months. And I approached them and I said, look, I said, I don't want to be involved in Better Blocks anymore. How about if I you can have the trademark free of charge? And this is a trademark that I've been hanging on like for 20 years to try and get back. But for me, it was the process. For me, it was a personal process that I couldn't get into the new things I wanted to do, still hanging on to the past, because I'm more of a pioneer type guy. So I had to take that, like it was a big, well, am I really doing the right thing here? And of course, you never know until you do it. But for me, it was a process of letting go of the trademark, was letting go of the past so I could fully commit to what I wanted to do. So that was, trademark was a whole interesting experience for me. But I'm a great believer in that the true money is actually in a trademark, because a trademark, unlike a patent, doesn't run out after 20 years, and you've got something in the long term. But yeah, so that was my story of trademarks and getting them back and then giving them away. So
thanks so much for sharing that, Warren. That's a great anecdote. And I don't think so, but I'd like to think that maybe that was the deal with Disney. Maybe they were like, you know what, it's time to let go. Thank you, though.
I don't know, mate. I got no idea what their deal was.
Good deal.
All right. Well, let's see. What do we have next? Michael Jackson's patent for anti-gravity shoes.
Thanks, Celeste, for notifying us.
Yeah.
That is something.
So on October 26, 1993, the King of Pop, Michael Jackson, filed the U.S. patent 5,255,452 method and means for creating anti-gravity illusion. Patent was used to perform Jackson's iconic anti-gravity illusion scene in his 1988 music video, "Smooth Criminal." So that's interesting. Oh, look, here's
that's
the
the coolest part, is the drawings. Yeah.
So these are the drawings of the
Shoes.
of the shoes and how they, I guess, how they came together and how they were formed. I wonder what made them.
Yeah, I
Oh,
was
it's more
trying to
like the
figure that out
technique
as
or-
well. Yeah, apparently if you shift your weight though, you don't look like you're leaning, well, you look like you're leaning, but you're not falling over.
Didn't the shoes attach to the floor?
Yeah, there was a little peg on the
Oh,
floor.
was that it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you had,
there's more-
Yeah, right there.
you
Yeah,
had
there
to
you
kick
go.
it in.
This part, okay,
Yeah.
the part I did not understand.
And it probably took a surprising amount of strength to do that.
Still, yeah, even with the
Of
peg.
course, he was probably pretty thin, but
Yeah,
some pretty muscular guy had a pretty tough time doing that.
yeah. Well, that is wild. Oh, and there's the, yeah.
Yeah,
there's
you
a
can
little
see the
more
peg
of
there.
the,
Yeah, there it
a
is.
little more of the peg and,
We should have to hit that on
So-
the stage floor pretty precisely.
yeah, what if you missed? Whoa. That is just way cool. Thank you for Celeste for sharing that with us. We really appreciate that. So, Leo, if Celeste is with us now, does that mean we are now,
We're almost, we gotta get a New Zealander.
oh, okay. We're almost there. So we're almost in every hemisphere now. So that's a little mind boggling all by itself. So, all right. Well, let's see. Let's move on to the next thing. I was going to mention just before we leave the Mickey Mouse thing alone. Let's see if I can find it here. That's the Mickey Mouse one. And then, Milkbone. So, and this kind of goes back to what Warren was talking about. So this was a trademark that was filed in, I know it's in here. It's like 1909. I know I had it in here before, saw it in here before. Anyway, so it was 1909. It is still active.
Wow.
It is still active today. It still is an active trademark. So, I just I thought, okay, well they are that old, but the oldest one that was what really thought was really amazing. So
Interesting. Yeah. I
so
would have guessed that base was like the oldest. I don't know.
right. So all right, let's fast forward to January 24th, 1935. The first canned beer was called Kruger Cream Ale and was sold by the Kruger Brewing Company of Richmond, Virginia. And this is the official birthday of the beer can, not beer, but the beer can. The day these cans went on sale in Richmond, Virginia. The beer was really made its debut 14 months earlier, just before the repeal of Prohibition. I thought this was kind of interesting. So, you wonder, did they have a heads up that that was going to be a thing? Okay, beer's coming back, so let's put it in cans.
Yeah, I bet they could at least see which way the winds were blowing.
Yeah.
And so
They had to have.
maybe took a plunge based on some, pretty good guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think they might have just maybe they knew someone that was like knew the
In that area especially, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Love their logo too. It's so whimsical.
Yeah, let me
It's
pull
supposed
that
to be a
back up.
K, but it's like a little dude walking around with his beer.
And then think how long ago was that?
Let's see.
1935.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about it. It is a K and it's like a little guy.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing I just thought was kind of weird. This is how you opened beer cans in 1935.
Algebra with a screwdriver.
Yeah, I think, okay, that's like opening a can of oil. Plus there was something else in
I
it.
remember opening cans like that.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
It's like the old church keys.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
you
that's
you
funny.
did two of them. You did the big one and
Yeah,
you
and then
did
the
the
little
round,
top.
and you did a little one on the
For
other
the air to
side.
go in.
for the
Yeah.
air to come out.
Or was it
Oh, wow.
soup cans, I think?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it wasn't beer cans I was doing.
Interesting.
But, well, it might have been that too.
So, yeah, it was marketed by let's see, 1935. Paps came out in the same year, but the flat top style. I thought that was so interesting.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine in this day of paper thin aluminum containers, the first flat top cans weighed in at nearly 4 ounces. No wonder the device designed to open them with the indispensable tool called the church key was originally 5.5 inches long, 3/4 inches wide, and 1/8 inch thick. That had to be that's a big tool to open a beer can. You had to really want a beer. Yeah, I think to have that.
But you all remember even the flip tops not too long ago, too, where you pulled it like completely off, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was something.
That was not too long ago.
Before those.
Leo
flip-flops,
remembers
that's
that,
what
don't
you
you?
had.
Interesting.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, let's see. What else do we have here? All right. We're gonna one more thing, and then we're gonna moving on to present day. So the this next one is kind of interesting. The January 20th, 1857. We're still kind of back in another century here, and this one, get it to come up. There we go. So William Kelly patented the blast furnace for manufacturing steel. Now, this has always kind of fascinated me because the steel was kind of an odd thing. You didn't, maybe you had silverware made out of it in the 1850s. Maybe you had just very, very few, very small things made out of steel. And it wasn't until Carnegie came along and that he actually licensed from Bessemer, which you see him in here. So Bessemer patented this in 1856, and then 1857, I guess William Kelly had kind of come up and he'd actually produced something that was maybe a little bit improved, but basically they were injecting air into molten iron to get this steel. And but it says the same process discovered independently by Bessemer, patent in 1856, due to a financial patent in 1857. The company had already licensed the Bessemer process, and I'll bet you that was I would almost think it'd have to be. Was able to produce be able to purchase Kelly's patents and license them under a single scheme using Bessemer's name. So this is the guy that helped invent manufacturing steel that's nobody knows about. So kind of begs the question though, how do you think he could actually invent another process like 1 year later of making steel?
So the steel process already existed. He just came up with a different way to make it.
Different way, just a little different twist on making it.
Well, I think what the Bessemer process did, you're pumping oxygen through the molten metal steel, and it pulls the carbon out of it, making it stronger steel. And
So that's the secret to it.
Well, yeah, I think that's why he was doing that. If I remember correctly, that was which makes it more ductile more.
So if the steel is stronger, can we say it's actually a different type of steel by itself as well?
Yeah, I mean, steel's categorized a number of ways. I don't know
Right.
if it'd be
Yeah, I
labeled.
mean, alloys are. I think there might be patent. I don't know if alloys are patented or not, but there's
Don't think
all
so.
kinds of
Yeah.
alloys.
Yeah, I think really the and this kind of goes back to kind of my whole thought with this. Well, I've got a thought and then another thought because I can't mention Carnegie without bringing up graphene. But I mean, you can have something patented and it can kind of be the cat's meow. It can be the thing. But if you come up with something with, maybe he had a different way to deliver the air into the molten steel.
Yeah, who knows how it would have
Just
been.
something to maybe, okay, it comes out a little better like this.
Well, the more air, the more oxidation. The more oxidation, the hotter it's going to burn. The hotter it burns, the more impurities, So I would imagine there is a qualitative difference that justified his reasoning. And apparently the patent office agreed. I
Yeah,
had to look it up. You can patent alloys.
Really?
It's absolutely doable. I would not have thought.
wow.
Yeah. Interesting.
So if we come up with a new alloy, we can patent it.
Apparently.
All right, well, a challenge for Newton's attic.
Well, maybe, yeah, we'll put some kids on that. Yeah, see how that works out.
Oh,
Interesting.
yeah, fantastic. All right, well, let's move along to some items in the news. And this first one I think is kind of really interesting. So there's this guy in New Zealand, and he has move up to it here. Come on, folks. Come on. There we go. Oh, by the way, this was his this was the guy. This was Bessemer's or not Bessemer's, Kelly's invention. So I wonder if maybe like the something in this that just made it, can't really see it like that. There we go. Wonder if there was, I mean, it looks so simple, doesn't it?
So yeah, the actual process probably is. I know that before that there's a lot of cast iron, which is very brittle.
Yeah.
You can start building girders and things with steel, and then now you can get into bridges and infrastructure stuff that
changed the world.
it really did.
Yeah. Oh, and that was my part about graphene. I totally missed over that. So this is the analogy that I've always intrigued me, is that steel was, you can only make it in small quantities, real expensive until the Bessemer process. Right now we've got graphene. Graphene's supposed to be like this amazing substance. It's supposed to do all these amazing things, but they make it in small quantities and it's real expensive. Whoever can be the next Bessemer for manufacturing graphene, mass produced cheaply, I think that could be the next.
Yeah. They're gonna do well, aren't
Yes, they're gonna do well. Maybe it's one of your students.
they?
All right, let's move on to this. This is a guy in New Zealand, our only missing hemisphere, according to Leo, that is come up with something. His company's called Hammer Force, launched a product to prove itself. Now it's signing a 20-year deal. It doesn't tell me what it is. Here we go. Inventing and commercializing the Airbow, a sleek, black, easily refillable, compressed air powered nail gun. So this is supposed to be like, it's not loud. It doesn't have sound. Plus there's no electric parts. They did away with any sort of combustion system, batteries, power leads, fans, or chargers, no electronic parts, no problems with water, no spark to create a fire, carbon dioxide, monoxide, released when the gun's fired, no battery to dispose of. Here is here's a little video of it.
Scott Brown here. The question is this the nail gun of the future? Let's find out. Well, to answer that question, we first have to look at what this thing does.
Now, this is a 9-minute video, so I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but it's pretty neat. Kind of goes into too many details here. Let me see if I can find.
It has a great depth adjustment function where you select a number on the dial to suit the different timbers that you're nailing into. Now, how about actually using the thing? Firing nails. An all-important part of the process, obviously. Once the tank has been filled up, you go like this. It's ready to fire. And then when you're done firing, you press this thing at the back. Maybe it's a safety thing, but basically it means you have to do that before you're ready to nail again. It's not going to work.
All right.
And there's no way to get around that. It is huge.
Oh, what do you think? That the hammer of the future, or?
Well, I know I've used lots of nail guns in the past. Almost any morning I screw things together.
Oh, really?
Yeah, now I'm getting ready to do a construction project. We'll see if we nail it together or we screw it together, but a silent nail gun would be great.
Yeah.
They are pretty loud.
Because that's the big complaint with that in industry.
Really? Is
Noise complaint.
the noise?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because they either
That seems to be used. They used to do carpentry for a living, and that seems to have a great place in the warehouse building, the desk and the cabinets, and like a cabinet maker, instead of the big compressor going off, like that, where you have 10 nail guns going by 10 craftsmen, building furniture and so forth. But taking that out on the job, I could see a lot of jobs I worked at where I wouldn't even be able to fit that thing in.
It's pretty dang big. There is that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What did it run on?
Air compressed air, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. It's basically a BB gun meets a nail gun.
What do you get
Yeah.
by like the CO2 cartridges, or how do you recharge your tank?
You mentioned.
Oh, yeah, he did. He did
So he's
have a
probably
whole
buried somewhere in that.
Yeah,
video.
it's buried in that video, but I saw this big compressor type thing. So
Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
thought it was compressed air that he filled that bottle with.
There's
Right.
some, second component goes with it.
Yeah.
Right.
That makes sense.
I bet you'd be running fill the thing up a lot.
Yeah.
right.
Interesting.
That could very well be, because it did look like there was a lot of things to hold on to.
It was.
So, all right, let's move on to the next one. Let's see, the CES Day 1. Let's take a look at that. Move on to CES, which is kind of going on right now. So this is so CES, Consumers Electronics show in Vegas. Is that still going on?
I think so.
I think it's still going
Yeah.
on. So most incredible, weirdest, most useless impulses in one show. So you get let's see, there was something. Okay, this was it. The name of the game this year, and it could, if you're not familiar with the Consumer Electronics Show, this is where everybody, and again, Bill, you're kind of.
Oh yeah, my wife, they had a speaker company, or family did.
Yep.
And every year CES was starting in December. That was their total focus was getting out to Vegas and getting the CES and doing the show. It was very stressful for them.
Yeah.
Which is a big deal. But.
Yeah. And with every trade show I've ever been to, the big, every trade show is different, but every trade show is kind of alike. And in all the different industries, there's always the one thing that's like a buzz. It's like, okay, this is the thing everybody. Well, this year at CES, they said the name of the game this year is AI. Every conceivable product touts its integration and burgeoning technology. Usefulness of a large language model for your toilet remains to be seen. But it's a hot piece of technology every journalist and company is keen to promote. So the AI is just kind of gone crazy, and I guess especially, and again, we've got another little video we can show on this. So let's play this.
CES is the World Cup for innovation and technology. It's the place where those with ideas gather with those with the business. What's changed in the last year or so is generative AI. AI that learns from the past. It keeps gathering data and learns from it and does things better. In fact, we have different IA. First, we have a conversational one, so the robot can be answering questions. And then he has also IA to help him map the world and move around people. And you have, again, one IA dedicated to grab things.
And this robot is a sports performance enhancement. You can run faster with this device because it automatically detects your running posture and your intent, and it pulls we synchronize your motion. So you can push the ground much high impact.
Red, green, it can really change to any color we want.
All right, and I can't get my mouse to stop this. There we go. All right, good. So all right, so what do we think? You think AI is going to be a useful tool for new technology, or you think it's a whole lot of overblown hype?
Yeah, I think AI is a paradigm shift, but they're overblowing the use of it. They're not using it in the right place. They're selling a product.
Yeah.
And that's the latest feature they've got to have. But yeah,
It reminds me of the internet, actually. That you saw this weird trichotomy when the internet became a real big deal for the marketplace. You had people who were really early adopters and they were looking at useful things and they became billionaires as a result. And then you had people who were like, this thing will blow over. I'm going to bury my head in the sand. And they did not benefit from that. And then on the third end of things, you had people who were just cramming everything onto the internet because they heard that it was profitable instead of really making use of it. And I'm seeing that with AI too. You got people who are terrified of it, people who are adopting it properly, people who are just like, well, what about an AI pepper mill? We'll make millions. So, yeah.
you had everything, at the age of the internet came out, everything was a .com. Didn't matter what you were doing.
Everything. And that tech bubble burst and a lot of people lost a lot of money for that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't selling toasters in a brick and mortar store just because we had a website where we're validated as a tech company.
Yeah. Now they weren't wrong. I had a brick and mortar store. I would never do that again. That's that opportunity, in my opinion. Well, there's probably some specialty companies, but in the field I was in, that opportunity died with the financial crisis. So that was, post 2010, no way.
Well, I think you see this with every new technology that comes out. I was in because I promise I'm not this old, but I remember going to museums where they talked, and it was the advent of electricity. And so it's like, oh, wow, we can have electric lights. We've changed the world. And they started using it for everything. And I saw like therapeutic devices where like, if you just plug yourself up to this electricity, it'll just make you feel great. And I'm thinking, okay, you're giving yourself electric shocks.
So we've seen this every time a major invention has come along. Yes, I would agree there. But yeah, AI it already is a game changer. People have integrated, people I know in the creative fields have integrated, it's integrated or die because the speed with which you can create using AI it's incomparable.
You guys used it for your soundtrack.
We use it
for that's right.
That's right. For our sound, for our voiceover, and we
thought it was Bill.
Yeah. It's I won't say it's integrated into our process, but it's certainly for us anyway, when you run out of ideas, it's a good place to turn and say, hey, let's tell them, put it in what we're thinking and see if something we haven't thought of comes back.
Yeah. And you
got an AI our trophy.
What's that?
We're designing a trophy for the Robot Gladiator League, and so we're batting around ideas, and I couldn't create a piece of artwork to save my life, but AI, I could certainly. You start throwing stuff into AI and it spits stuff out pretty readily.
What do you guys use in Midjourney?
I'm making a note right now. We're going to put a little prompt together.
Nice.
Ooh, nice. Very nice. Delio, didn't you say you'd seen this in kind of the advertising world where it's like if you have to do something creative and instead of just staring at the blank.
I use it for that very purpose, and it's great at that. It helps you generate ideas, it helps you structure ideas, but at no point should it ever be the source of ideas, and that's where I'm seeing some of the more garbage component of AI, where you're seeing these listicles that are misinformation and nonsense, and they're just churned out by a hallucinating robot.
Hallucinating robot.
Mm. But it's especially great for code work, and it's especially great for idea generation. And I think we're going to see people develop more uses for it, and it's not going away. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's more a question. It's like the internet. It's a question of, are you using it wisely, or are you ignoring it, or are you just throwing stuff at a wall to see what works?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it used especially in areas where you have to communicate quickly, social media especially. You know, so your boss comes and says, "This isn't me." I've heard. Your boss comes and says, "Hey, we need a post, in the next 30 minutes about whatever subject," and you don't have to wordsmith it. It's change, plug it in, change a couple things to make it suit you, and off it goes.
Well, one of my favorite things ever on TikTok is there's these comedians and voice actors, and they use an AI, and it's always voiced and acted out by Tom Hanks. It's not really Tom Hanks, but it's these insane stories that AI comes up with. And of course, they're all super flawed, and you could never just make use of them. But there's nuggets in those stories that are so good that they could absolutely be used to make a great feature or a great show. It's wild.
Wow. So it's not really it's going to do everything for you, but you gotta like pick and choose what you want it.
Absolutely.
Wow, it's tool.
Yeah.
It's augmenting something you're already doing.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, so we got one more here. And then we're going to move on and talk about a really cool invention. But this last one here is let me get back to this. Here we go. And so this last one is not that one. Here we go. The fastest swimming insect could inspire unscrewed boat designs. So this is kind of wild looking. So this is they call them whirligig beetles, the world's fastest swimming insect. I knew Leo was going to be interested in this.
Oh yeah. I did not study this. I am bragging now. I just knew it was whirligig beetles. Fastest swimmers.
To achieve surprising speeds by employing a strategy shared by speedy marine mammals and waterfowl, according to a Cornell University study that rewrites previous explanations of the physics involved. So the centimeter-long beetles can reach an acceleration of 100 meters per second and a top velocity of 100 body lengths per second, or 1 meter per second. So that's pretty wild. So not only does it explain the Olympic speeds, but also offer valuable insights for bio-inspired designers of near-surface water robots and unscrewed boats. Now, of course, the whole mention of near-surface water robots,
it's kind of scary.
Sounds a little bit scary, but so they used to believe that the impressive speeds was a propulsion system called drag-based thrust. But now let's see, could have well been questioned. The fastest swimmer doesn't usually go together. But they're not saying what it does. What if it doesn't do that? What does it do? So
interesting.
So maybe have they not figured it out? Maybe
they may still be reverse engineering.
If you go down, the last sentence said that they switched from the drag and thrust right there, that last paragraph, to a lift-based thrust.
Okay.
Right there.
Thank you. We appreciate that. So, I guess I should continue reading. Okay, using two high-speed cameras synchronized at different angles, the researchers could film a whirligig and observe lift-based thrust mechanism at play. Okay, great. So it works like a propeller where the thrusting motion is perpendicular to the water surface, eliminating drag and allowing more efficient momentum capable of greater speed. And I can tell the wheels
sounds almost like a hydrofoil where the whole body lifts up and there's less drag in the water.
Yeah, it's actually a good analogy.
Yep.
For it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see Bill's wheels already turning of.
Well,
"Gee,
I
how
want
do
to
we-
understand
how
how
do
we
turn
work
this
this,
into
and
something?"
then we can, yeah, make a summer camp out of it.
We'll make a summer camp out of this. Okay, we're gonna have
Shooting kids down. We have a creek right next to our property.
yeah.
I'm sure there's some grant money in there if you write it up properly.
Interesting.
So what do you think, guys? Could cool new tech just be hiding in nature somewhere, or
Oh, I'm sure it is.
It
Yeah,
is.
there's a work for that biomimicry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like gecko feet being used to make.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I forgot about that one. That's a thing now.
Yeah.
We've actually got some of that here. We
That's
should
right.
haul it out
Yeah.
sometime. The and alien tape. If do you remember the alien tape? I always thought it was just such a cheap, awful infomercial name, and they used to sell them with that infomercial. Well, they developed this tape, and it was based on the geckos. And you can put this tape; it really holds really, really well. And you can pull it off, and you can wash it. You can reuse it. And actually, we were looking at it for a project here, and it's amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Mostly, it's sold as just like commercial, just funny stuff. I mean, it looks like it ought not be taken seriously.
Yeah.
But then when you see what it does, it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think I've seen it and didn't really take it too seriously.
Yeah, yeah.
Then they'll have in their marketing tomorrow.
Right, exactly.
So it sounds like you're describing some of that 3M stuff now, where you can put it on the wall and then take it off.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
maybe.
command strips or whatever those things.
No,
That's some
this is
different
different.
technology.
Yeah, this is different. This is totally different. So, yeah, I'm trying to think of what they call it, but it was something. It has to do with the gecko technology. Leo's trying to find
Oh,
something
yeah.
on it
The gecko.
right
I'm
now.
also handling the chat, but yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, cool. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there in just nature
Oh, it's
that I think can absolutely be used.
the whole
as-
reason that we fly in airplanes is because they observe birds.
Yeah.
And the first aircraft used the same mechanism that birds use, wing warping.
Yeah.
And they got away from that because it turns out you can't, at that time in the early, 1900s, you couldn't make a strong wing when you're using wing warping, kind of opposite goals there.
Yeah.
But NASA has spent a lot of money studying that concept again, because that is kind of the holy grail of low drag wing design, is not having all these different surfaces that are moving around, but the whole wing operates as one device.
Wow.
So it can be completely slicked down and low drag. But getting that and shrink together is still tough. But there's somewhere out there, there's some fighter aircraft flying that their wings shift in shape based on that biomimicry.
Yeah, neat.
So they have not completely cracked air flight, bird level technology air flight yet.
No,
Not
there's-
100%.
There's still gains to be made. Yes.
We know bees generate cyclonic forces the way their wings flap, and dragonflies, but they have 4 wings, which makes them less agile than regular flies.
Mhm.
But what's really neat about them is they're actually the most successful predator on Earth.
Really?
They have something
one?
like dragonflies. They
Dragon.
have something like a 97% kill rate when they go after something. And to put that in perspective, cheetahs, it's like 30. So
Wow.
it's pretty nuts.
So we just need to make like dragonfly
Dragonfly drones.
Dragonfly
There we go.
drones, yeah. Now you've done it, Leo. Oh goodness. All right. Well, let's move on, and I'm going to feature.
Yeah.
We're going to talk to. We've got a special guest here. I am going to spotlight Jasmine. Replace spotlight. There we go, Jasmine. Hi, Jasmine.
Hello.
Great to have you. Thank you so much for being with us tonight and being part of this. Jasmine is the inventor of the Stoma Saver. Am I saying that
Stoma
correctly?
E. No, we've had to change the name for Stoma E.
Okay. Stoma, can you say that one more time?
Stoma E's.
Stoma E's. Okay, great. Cool.
No, to not imply anything.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about the product, what it is, what it does.
Okay, so a little bit of background. I have lived with a feeding tube since 2015. The problem with feeding tubes is that the skin around your feeding tubes gets very raw and sore. And the reason for this is because, feeding tubes are secure in the sense that nothing can get into them. They leak out. So your fluids from your intestines or your stomach, depending on where your tube is placed, will leak out, and that fluid is very damaging to the skin. If you think about like weeping wounds, what damages the skin is having it wet, having that exudate. And so I developed a powder. So my background's in chemistry. And so I developed a powder that soaks up all of the fluid that leaks around a tube. And that clumps together so that it doesn't fall everywhere, and is easily wipeable off of your skin so that it doesn't stick to your skin and cause more pain. At the moment, there are only products available to help any kind of feeding tube irritation around the skin around it is just creams. Some people use creams that are intended for like diaper rash creams. There are a couple creams that are intended for feeding tubes that have essentially the same ingredients, but they don't treat the problem. They treat the burn that comes with it. So because there's nothing that's stopping the continual leak, you're just treating a problem that's continually happening until isolation. So we're very close to getting it on the market. Hopefully the next couple months we'll actually have it start manufacturing.
Very cool. Very cool.
And this is my dad here's with me. He has been the business side of things because I'm just a chemist. I don't do business.
I just go for the ride.
Yeah, I did this for myself because I was really just annoyed. It was the beginning of the pandemic, and I was like, I'm so tired of having a freaking chemical burn on my body all the time. So I fixed it, and I invented this. And my dad was like, "Okay, you really need to get this to other people." And I was like, you're right. So we set out to get this up to the market.
So you originally designed this for yourself, and you said, "Well, this is great. This really solved my problem. I'll bet there's a lot of other people out there that this
Yeah,
will."
there are. Yeah.
And there are, yeah. So it sounds like you've got a good partnership here, and with Mel and Mel. Tell us a little bit about your side of the journey.
I just, it's what Jasmine said. She sitting talking in the living room, and she's saying, "I got this great idea," and if it works for her, it works for so many other people. And so we experimented with that, pushed that hypothesis out there, and it really exploded. So we knew we had a good product. So that was the first part. We were a little naive. We thought, oh, we got a great product. I have a vacant apartment above my garage. That's going to be our warehouse. We're going to get this and fill up little bottles and sell it online. I wasn't even thinking about things like the FDA regulations that that are there. So that was our big sort of hurdle, is how to get past that. And the more I looked at it, the more difficult that was to overcome. So we needed to find somebody else to knows how to work around that. That's kind of where we hooked up with Rita at the same time, and explored the idea of licensing the patent. And for our situation, that was just a much better scenario, just because there was just too many things to overcome, and otherwise it would just sit in our house. And Jasmine have great experience, but it really is helping all these other people out there. So those were the big challenges, and I'll let Jasmine say more. I'm going to get out of here because she's a star.
No, and the thing about it is it's beyond just irritation. I have a good friend who's a nurse who had a patient who had to have surgery because his feeding tube leaked so badly it destroyed the skin around. He had to have a surgical resection. There are people who are just living with constant pain. It's a So we're hoping that we can get this out there and
Um,
prevent.
Wow, that's fantastic. I mean, I think it's fantastic product, and I imagine it's going to help a lot of people. What do you think the hardest part of the journey was for you all, or was it different for each of you?
Definitely different. I mean, so from the development side, this is what I do. That was the easy part for me, just because of my background. Knowing what to do, the next step. I think that's the idea, is like what is the next piece to actually, like, what's the next hurdle? Finding the right people, finding the right people to write the patent, the right lawyers, finding, also found Rita Wade, someone who can do all the contracts and stuff and the licensing part, finding the company that was going to be the right people to get it. And we ended up finding a really lovely sort of mid-sized company, small company, as opposed to a large company where they have like 1,000 products and it's going to be just one small product. That might take 9 months just to get an approval versus a smaller company that's really passionate about getting it out there on the market, which is what we were very lucky to find. But just finding the right people was definitely the hardest part.
Yeah. And to do that, there's something called the Oli Foundation, who is an advocate group for people with feeding tubes and IV nutrition. And so this last summer was their first trade show in 3 years because of COVID. So we really reached out to them to help us along the way, because we have the same goal involved in getting this out to the people that they're trying to support. And they helped us reach out to manufacturers that were going to be at the show. So we did a lot of pre-planning with them. Then we went to St. Louis to go meet the manufacturers and just did our little, dog and pony dance, and just went around and said, this is who we are and what we have to do. And luckily it happened. That was really the scariest part, because after putting ourselves out, and really, for me, putting out, it's a lot. It's not cheap to do all these things, and there's no guarantees whatsoever. And then when you get that far and you get very, very excited, and then you have to go find a company, you think, oh my gosh, did I make the biggest mistake of my life? And you just have to believe in yourself, believe in the product, and do your best to make things happen.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it is kind of a big and scary step when you get out there into the unknown and you don't know what's going to happen. But I like the fact that you said you've made a lot of good partnerships. You found people like Rita. We always say here, no successful inventor entrepreneur ever works in total isolation.
Absolutely.
It takes other people and other people with different skill sets, like what it sounds that you all have done. So what do you think helped you the most to kind of get to where you are now?
It's a hard question. There's so many different pieces. I think definitely on my end was just seeing the need and the excitement about it. That's definitely what's kept me going. Was the idea that, okay, like, that this needs to be out there. I'll let my dad answer the rest of that.
Well, and just to go, beyond that, the truest and most exciting response has come from nurses, because nurses are the ones that deal with, doctors are fine, but the nurses are the ones that actually deal with the patients.
They really get it, don't they?
They really do.
The nurses were really excited. So many random nurses were like, when I sort of put this out as kind of a little feeler, we're like, okay, we need this now.
And then the other exciting part is that this is the beginning. We've got other ideas that have come out of this, and then working with our the partners that we come up with, and just, I love sitting around at night just talking about this and the what if, and what about this and what about this, and Jasmine's an incredible genius. I'll just say, 'cause she's my daughter. she has these little inspirations that come in the middle of the night, and
Yeah, it's usually at like 3 a.m., right? That's when I feel like
and
this thing,
to
right?
give her a little, just really quick, a little credit. This little girl, when she was 14, she had juvenile onset Parkinson's, and which is very, very rare, and lots of hurdles along the way, and we just doesn't give up, and she just keeps coming up with a solution, and a lot of reasons to give up, and very, very hard, but there's always a silver nugget out there somewhere. You just gotta look for that one little piece to hang on to that get to your next step.
I
And when
think
you're
patients
stronger,
are creative. Being somebody who lives with challenging health things makes you very creative because there's so many different issues you come across. There's issues that I feel like aren't necessarily recognized by the medical community as even being needed because they don't have to, they see you for an hour in the office. A researcher will study your condition, but they don't have to live with it 24/7. And so I think that patient innovation is important because there's so many things that need solving that might not even be on the radar of the people who are solving issues.
Wow. And I think going back to just where it's that stick-to-itiveness. It's that what gets you through one thing will get you through another thing. And if I've seen one common thread with inventors and entrepreneurs out there, it's been that I'm going to figure out the next step.
It's a problem that bothers you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm curious, two questions. One, do you guys have any links that you would like shared in the chat? And also, is there anything that you just in general that we haven't covered that you want other inventors to know? It can be anything.
Lived experience is the best. And we kind of covered that. But
yeah. As far as links, we're not quite there. We will be in like another month of a.
Yeah, we don't have any. We're still working on all the things. The FDA is a big hurdle. It's everything. It's everything from the labeling, what can be said on a package.
Yes, that's what we're working on right now.
That's why stoma ease is not still stoma ease yet, because that has to be approved. All those. There's just an unlimited number of little details, but we are knocking them down.
And that's the right attitude too, is you just hit them one, it's how to eat an elephant, just one bite at a time. Well, thank you all so much. We really appreciate it. And
round of applause for
round
Wait a second. There's one thing I want to say. Just earlier when you were talking about finding solutions in nature, that is just like so my thing. And I that's absolutely all of the ingredients that I used are natural ingredients that come from the earth, and so all of our medicines that we have that treat conditions came from somewhere, from plants, from animals, that were then derived, purified, analyzed, and then recreated. Taking so much inspiration from things around us is that just really resonates with me.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Yeah, and I agree. I think that's where you find stuff. All right. Well, thank you again so much. Leo, do we have any questions in the chat?
Yeah, feel free, guys, if you have questions for them or for any of our guests or us for that matter, put it in the chat or raise your hand and we'll unmute you and get to it. We're so in depth. I got a hunch we're going to be lighter on questions this time. Let me check YouTube as well. Anybody got any questions?
A lot of
good deal. No, it was just a thumbs up.
Yeah, a lot of thumbs up. A lot of really. Yeah.
No worries, guys. This was fantastic.
Gecko tape. That's right, Warren. It was called gecko tape.
So if you don't mind, I'd like to throw a comment out there for Jasmine and Milt. they were wonderful to work with. From the time they got in touch with me, we were able to, you know, talk about questions and possible answers and solutions and get things done. And as clients, yay, they
Right
were,
back at you. You were lovely too.
well, it's, you know, and the company that they ended up licensing to, they were so excited. They wanted to make it happen. And that's always, you know, helpful when we're trying to get a deal done.
Wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful.
And you touched on a really useful thing for folks to know who are after licensing. A lot of times it's the Goldilocks companies. The small ones don't have the resources, the big ones are overburdened. The ones in the middle are usually the better bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, the middle-sized company, the whole team was always available. They were always on all the emails. Everybody got to respond. It was really nice. It's not like, well, oh, you know, our legal team will get back to you. No, they were all the team. They all responded to. They had me draft the agreement, which was really great, and sent it back to them, and they all read it and put in their comments. And it was, you know, they knew there was a problem. And when Jasmine brought them the solution, they jumped on it because it's like, we have known this was a problem and no one has been able to solve it. So you go, Jasmine. Thumbs up, dear. You go, girl.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We're looking forward to being able to send out those links and we're
Yeah.
looking forward to
Absolutely.
doing whatever we can to help you advance that. That's awesome.
Absolutely. All right. So any other questions, comments?
I mean, nothing
I
that I
think
didn't
we're
acknowledge.
okay. All right.
Of course, praise from Celeste.
Yep.
That's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So so if someone is interested in Newton's Attic, what you're doing, the battle bot, or any of that, Gladiator League, where do they need to go?
Well, so the two websites, that Newton's Attic is newtonsattic.org or .com. We own both, and they can both go to the same place. So that will give you, you know, all encompassing everything that we do. If you're specifically interested in Robot Gladiator League, that's rglhub.com.
rglhub.com.
And so we've got, if you're, I know we have a group from around the world here, but if you happen to be in the Kentucky area, anytime between mid-February and April, we will have 4 regular season events where the teams will show up and they will play one match, win or lose. And then on April 30th at Morehead State University, we will have our state championship. It will be a March Madness style tournament. So all 8 teams will show up and winner moves on until we have one. And as a special event, part of that, between the last Final Four match and the championship match, we will have a battle royale. So all the teams that aren't competing for the championship, whatever is left of their robot, they can throw it in the arena, and it's a battle for the last robot standing.
Wow.
And we usually open up, that's where in the video you saw the floor had a hole in it. We usually open up the center of the arena so they can push their opponent in and have a couple down. The crowd goes absolutely nuts. The kids go nuts on that.
Yeah.
I mean, they get so excited. The emotions are running high during that one for sure.
Oh, wow. A hole in the floor.
Battle
Yeah.
Royale. It's kind of the last gasp for whatever this year's design is.
Oh, well, that is so cool. And as a matter of fact, let me see if I can do this because I know we wanted to pull up your website. Let's see. Here we go. There we go. So now this is the Newton's Attic website.
Yeah.
And so you do field trips, birthday parties. You can donate if you're wanting to get involved. So if you're not in this area and you're wanting to help support, and again, I remember when we very first started with this whole program, and I remember Bill sitting down with me and just kind of going over, here's my idea for what I want to do. It was kind of like talking to Walt Disney at the beginning of Disneyland. So this is an amazing organization. They do just unbelievable stuff. And they've got a summer camp. They've got all kinds of things. and just go to newtonsattic.com, or is it newtonsattic?
.com or .org. Both take
.com?
you to the same
Okay,
place.
both will work.
We're
All right.
officially .org because we are a 501c3
Yep,
nonprofit.
right. Well, there you go.
But just to eliminate confusion, we own .com as well.
There you go. Hey, I love that. So you got all your bases covered. So, all right. Well, with that, thank you all again. Thank you, our guests tonight. We really appreciate it, and we're really excited. Bill, any parting thoughts?
Well, this has really been a lot of fun. I didn't know what to expect tonight, and I'm glad I got to be here.
Well, we were really glad to have you part of it. So we'd love to have you all back.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Highlights from the next.
We will have some stories to tell for sure.
I think you will.
Yes, we're looking forward to it.
All right, good deal. How about you, Leo? Any parting thoughts?
No, just thanks everybody for coming. Hope you all have a great weekend. Thanks to everybody who's guested and answered questions, and just super grateful. Thank you.
All right. How about you, George? Anything?
Nothing special.
Okay.
Everybody have a good night.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much again. Thank you for spending your Friday evening with us. We hope this was a lot of fun and you learned some things and you were inspired, because that's what we're doing. Stay tuned. February 6th. It all starts again. We'll have our next open meeting. So watch your email inboxes. We're going to have some really cool stuff going on in February at the Inventors Network. So I'm Don Skaggs. For me, Leo York, and all the rest of us, thank you so much. Have a great January, and we will see you soon.